Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something that often gets lost in the noise of our hyper-connected world, the importance of keeping your personal life personal. In a world where oversharing is glorified, privacy isn't just a choice, it's an act of self-respect and empowerment. Why do we feel the need to let everyone in? To open the door to our most vulnerable moments and invite everyone to take a seat. It's because we crave connection, validation, and a sense of belonging. But let me tell you something, you don't need to spill every detail of your life to find connection. When you guard your personal life, you're not just protecting your secrets, you're cultivating your power, preserving your peace, and reclaiming your narrative. Privacy doesn't mean isolation, it means intentionality. It means choosing who gets the honor of knowing your story and on what terms. Privacy is often misunderstood. We tend to think of it as something we put up as a wall, a barrier that keeps others out. We hear phrases like building walls or closing yourself off, and they often have a negative connotation, suggesting isolation or secrecy. But I want to challenge that perspective. Privacy is not a wall that blocks connection. It's a boundary that defines the space where we are most vulnerable, most authentic, and most in need of protection. Think of it less as a barrier to others and more as the invisible line that marks where you end and the rest of the world begins. A boundary is something we create with intention, not fear. It is the space we define to protect our emotional well-being and preserve our sense of self. Without these boundaries, we risk being overwhelmed by the demands and expectations of others. Privacy is the act of saying, this is where my story begins and ends, and realizing that it's okay to keep some parts of it for ourselves. The truth is, boundaries don't isolate us, they connect us more deeply to ourselves and to others. When we are clear about where we stand, what we value, and what we need, we create the opportunity for more authentic relationships. A well-placed boundary invites respect, it invites trust, and it invites understanding. We give people the chance to know us in the right ways on our terms. By respecting our own boundaries, we also teach others how to respect them. Think about it, when we overshare or expose too much too soon, we may unintentionally invite people to overstep those boundaries. This can lead to feelings of vulnerability, resentment, or even regret. But when we maintain privacy, we communicate that we expect mutual respect. We say, I am worthy of being treated with care, and my personal life is not for public consumption. This doesn't mean we shut ourselves off completely or keep everyone at arm's length. It's not about being inaccessible or indifferent to the people around us. It's about honoring the sacred parts of who we are. Privacy is an act of self-respect. It says, I have value, and my experiences, my emotions, and my story deserve to be handled with care. In many ways, privacy is what allows connection to happen in the healthiest form. Without boundaries, relationships can become transactional, driven by what is shared and how much is exposed. But when privacy is respected, relationships become rooted in trust. We are able to show up as our true selves without the pressure to perform or to share every aspect of our lives in order to be seen or loved. This concept of privacy as a boundary also applies to digital spaces. In our connected world, where social media invites us to share every moment, it's easy to forget that not everything needs to be broadcast. Our lives are more than content to be consumed, they are experiences to be cherished. Just because we can share something doesn't mean we should. It's essential to recognize the power of saying, this moment is mine, and allowing ourselves to enjoy and protect it for what it is. In short, privacy is the boundary that preserves our well-being, keeps our connections healthy, and ensures we are seen for who we truly are, not just for the moments we choose to share. It is the bridge between who we are inside and how we choose to present ourselves to the world. When we respect our own privacy, we're making space for deeper, more meaningful connections, not less. So remember, privacy isn't about shutting people out. It's about defining the space where we can remain true to ourselves, where we can heal, grow, and nurture our inner world without the pressure of external influences. boundaries are what make our connections richer, more profound, and more grounded in trust. They are the sacred lines that allow us to show up as the best versions of ourselves, both to others and to the world at large. We often hear the phrase, give them a front row seat to your life, especially in a world that encourages transparency and openness. But let's pause for a moment and reflect on this idea: who truly deserves a front row seat to our story? Not everyone. In fact, sometimes the people we let closest to us don't always deserve to witness the most vulnerable or intimate parts of our lives. Our lives are not a stage for others to watch, judge, or consume. We are the authors of our own stories, and the privilege of being part of that story should be earned. Let's not forget that we have the power to decide who gets access to the most sacred parts of who we are. Just because someone shows interest or seems like they care doesn't mean they should have an unrestricted pass to everything that makes us who we are. Think of your life as a beautiful theater production. There's a grand stage where some performances take place. These are the moments you choose to share with others. But there are also behind-the-scenes moments that are vital to the production's success. These moments are private, personal, and not for public consumption. Not every person in the audience should have access to the behind-the-scenes footage. There are rehearsals, mishaps, and intimate reflections that form the heart of the performance. These things are meant to be seen only by those who have earned the right to see them. Just as not every person can step on stage, not everyone should have a front row seat to your life. There's a difference between acquaintances, colleagues, and true confidants. Acquaintances and even friends may have a passing interest in what's going on in your life, but true intimacy is earned over time through trust, respect, and shared experiences. These are the people who understand and appreciate the depth of your story, and who have shown that they care for you without exploiting or judging your vulnerability. The front row should be reserved for the people who have shown the capacity to hold your story with care and compassion. It's for those who have proven they will protect the most delicate parts of you, those who have earned the right to witness your struggles, triumphs, and deepest emotions. These are the individuals who stand by you not because of what they can get from you, but because they genuinely care about your well-being. We've all had experiences where someone we thought was close to us overstepped boundaries. They may have shared parts of our lives with others, judged us without understanding, or even misused the trust we placed in them. It's painful, and it can make us question our own worth or sense of judgment. But in these moments, it's crucial to remember that just because someone desires a front row seat doesn't mean they're qualified to sit there. In fact, it's okay to reserve certain aspects of your life for yourself or for those you trust most deeply. Privacy isn't about being secretive or closed off. It's about discerning who deserves to be part of your most vulnerable moments. It's about recognizing that some people, no matter how well-intentioned, simply don't have the capacity to honor the depth of your story. By protecting your privacy, you are not only taking care of your emotional well-being, but you are also setting an example for how others should treat their own boundaries. It teaches us that our stories are sacred and we don't need to share them with everyone who asks. We can choose who gets a seat and who doesn't. This act of self-care is not about pushing people away, but about ensuring that those who are close to us are truly worthy of being there. The truth is, your life is not a performance for others. You are not obligated to share every aspect of it, nor should you be made to feel that you owe anyone a front row seat to your deepest moments. The people who belong in the front row are those who have earned it through kindness, respect, and genuine connection. They are the ones who will remain by your side in the toughest moments, who will hold your heart with care, and who will respect the boundaries you set. So remember, it's okay to say no to those who don't deserve access to your most intimate moments. It's okay to reserve your front row seats for the ones who truly understand and respect the sacredness of your journey. Not everyone gets the privilege of witnessing the full production of your life. Keep that space sacred and surround yourself with people who honor it. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how many people are watching, it's about how many truly understand, appreciate, and respect the story you're telling. In a world that constantly demands our attention, privacy has become one of the most precious commodities we can protect. It's easy to forget just how valuable it is until we find ourselves overwhelmed by the expectations and judgments of others. Privacy is not just about keeping certain aspects of our lives hidden from others. It's about maintaining the peace that allows us to thrive, reflect, and grow. At its core, privacy acts as a shield for our mental and emotional well-being. It creates a space where we can rest, recharge, and process life without the constant noise of external opinions or expectations. When we share too much of ourselves with the world, we often open the door to judgment, criticism, and unsolicited advice. These intrusions can disrupt our peace, causing stress, anxiety, and even confusion. But when we maintain privacy, we control the flow of information. We decide what to share, when to share it, and with whom. This level of control is liberating. It gives us the freedom to protect our peace from external forces that can often feel invasive. Think of your life as a garden. Some parts are meant to be cultivated in private, while others may bloom for the world to see. If you expose every seed, every new shoot, or every budding flower to the world before it's ready, you risk damaging its growth. Just as a garden needs time and care to flourish, so does our emotional and mental health. Privacy allows us the space to tend to ourselves, to nurture our thoughts and feelings, and to grow without interference. When we protect our personal space, we preserve our peace. In the absence of privacy, we often begin to live for the approval of others. We get caught up in the cycle of seeking validation or trying to meet external expectations rather than listening to our inner voice. This can lead to a sense of disconnection from our true selves and a constant feeling of pressure. Without boundaries, without privacy, our lives become a performance, and the peace that comes from simply being is lost. The more we overshare, the more we risk losing our sense of self. When privacy is in place, we create a sanctuary for our thoughts and feelings. In this sanctuary, we are allowed to be imperfect, uncertain, and vulnerable without the fear of being judged. This space is where we find our clarity. It's where we can reflect, process, and heal. Privacy is what makes it possible to have honest conversations with ourselves, to explore our emotions without the risk of being misunderstood. It allows us to come to terms with our own struggles, to address them at our own pace, and to emerge from those moments stronger and more resilient. Moreover, privacy allows us to protect the boundaries between our internal world and the external world. The world is constantly in motion. People are talking, commenting, and passing judgment. This can be exhausting, especially when we feel the pressure to respond or engage with every voice. When we maintain privacy, we are less vulnerable to the emotional ups and downs that come with being overexposed. We can guard our peace by not allowing every comment, every opinion, and every demand to penetrate our personal space. We become more selective about who and what we allow to influence our peace of mind. This concept extends beyond our personal relationships into the digital realm. With social media and the internet, it's easier than ever to overshare, to give people access to the most private corners of our lives. But this overexposure can leave us feeling exhausted, drained, and constantly in need of validation. The constant flow of information, comments, and interactions can wear us down, even if we don't realize it at first. By protecting our privacy online, we preserve our inner peace. We protect ourselves from the noise, the drama, and the pressure to perform. We decide how much of our lives we want to share and how much we want to keep for ourselves. This not only preserves our peace, but also helps us maintain a sense of control in an unpredictable world. In many ways, privacy acts as a form of self-care. We take care of our physical bodies by getting enough rest, eating well, and exercising. But we must also take care of our minds and souls. Privacy gives us the opportunity to check in with ourselves, to ask how we're doing, and to make the adjustments needed to stay centered. It is a form of emotional hygiene. Without privacy, we risk losing touch with our true selves, with what we need to feel at peace. We risk being pulled in 1,000 different directions by external forces that want to shape us into something we're not. Moreover, maintaining privacy means that we are less likely to be pulled into unnecessary drama or conflict. When we don't share every detail of our lives with everyone, we avoid giving others the opportunity to judge or create tension where there is none. Not every disagreement or issue needs to be made public. Some conflicts are personal, and resolving them requires space and quiet reflection. By keeping certain aspects of our lives private, we reduce the likelihood of involving others who don't have a true stake in our emotional well-being. This preserves our peace by keeping unnecessary stress at bay. Ultimately, privacy is the bedrock of peace because it allows us to protect our personal space and emotional boundaries. It gives us the time and space we need to reflect, grow, and heal on our own terms. By choosing what to share and what to keep for ourselves, we maintain a sense of control over our lives. This control is not about being secretive, it's about ensuring that we are not constantly exposed to the noise and chaos of the world. When we protect our privacy, we protect our peace. We ensure that our inner world remains untouched by external judgment, and that we are free to live in alignment with our truest selves. In a world that often feels intrusive and demanding, privacy is not just a luxury, it is essential to our well-being. It is the sanctuary where peace is born, nurtured, and protected. So let us honor our right to privacy, and in doing so, we will preserve the peace that is vital for a fulfilling, authentic life. We all have a story, a unique collection of experiences, moments, and lessons that define who we are. It is the narrative we carry with us, often shaped by our triumphs and our challenges, our joys and our heart hatches. But what if I told you that your story is not just a series of events in your life, but one of your greatest sources of power? That the act of owning and controlling your story can shape the way you experience the world and the way the world experiences you. When we say your story, your power, we are not just talking about the facts and events that make up your history. We are talking about the way you tell your story, the lens through which you view your experiences, the way you choose to interpret and share them, and the strength you gain from owning your narrative. Every part of your story, no matter how painful, is a building block that has helped shape your identity. And in owning that story, you reclaim your power. First, let's consider how many times we give away our power by letting others define our story for us. How often have you let someone else's judgment or perception of you shape how you view yourself? How often have you allowed someone else's opinions, expectations, or assumptions to dictate your choices, your actions, or even your sense of self-worth? When we allow others to control our narrative, we essentially surrender our power. We give up the ability to determine who we are and how we are seen. But when we step into the role of the storyteller, we take control. We get to decide what parts of our lives we want to share, how we frame our experiences, and what lessons we want to highlight. We take ownership of our journey, both the beautiful and the painful parts, and we claim the strength that comes from that ownership. The act of telling your own story is empowering because it allows you to reflect on your growth and progress. When we look back on our lives, we often see things differently than we did in the moment. What once felt like a setback or a failure might now be seen as a pivotal moment of growth, a turning point that brought us closer to who we are meant to be. By revisiting our own narrative with a compassionate eye, we can begin to appreciate how far we've come and how much strength we've gained along the way. Your story is your compass. It's the map that guides you through your life. It reminds you of your values, your dreams, and your purpose. It holds the key to understanding why you do what you do and how you continue to move forward in the face of adversity. In a world that constantly pulls us in different directions, your story provides you with a sense of direction, a foundation on which to build your future. The power of your story lies in its ability to clarify who you are, what you stand for, and why you matter. But the power of your story also lies in your ability to shape it. Life is constantly evolving, and so are we. every day is an opportunity to add a new chapter to our narrative. Your story doesn't have to be static or defined by a single moment or event. You are always writing the next part of it. The beauty of owning your story is that you have the power to redefine it as you go. If you've made mistakes, you don't have to be defined by them. If you've experienced hardships, they don't have to be the final word. You get to decide how those chapters influence your present and future. You get to choose how your story unfolds. Another source of power in owning your story is the ability to inspire others. Our stories are not just about us, they are also about the connections we create with others. When we share our authentic selves, we create space for others to do the same. We give others permission to embrace their own stories, to be vulnerable, to show up fully as they are. The power of your story lies in its ability to connect, to create empathy, and to remind others that they are not alone in their struggles, their dreams, or their journey. But sharing your story isn't always easy. It requires vulnerability, the willingness to expose the parts of yourself that you may have kept hidden for fear of judgment or rejection. It requires courage to stand up and say, this is me, this is who I am, and I am proud of it. Vulnerability can feel risky, but it is also the gateway to growth and connection. When you share your story with authenticity and courage, you step into your power. You acknowledge that your experiences, your feelings, and your perspective are valid and worthy of being heard. One of the most profound aspects of owning your story is that it frees you from the past. Often, we hold on to past experiences that have shaped us, whether they are moments of pain, regret, or fear. These memories can weigh us down, making it difficult to move forward. But when you reclaim your story, you also reclaim your future. You recognize that your past does not define your potential. It simply informs the wisdom and strength you bring to the present moment. You take the lessons from your past, but you don't let them imprison you. Your story gives you the power to rewrite your future, to chart your own course. Your story is not just a collection of events. It is a living, breathing narrative that you have the power to shape. It holds the key to your resilience, your growth, and your potential. When you own your story, you step into your true power. You acknowledge the struggles, the triumphs, and everything in between, and you let them fuel your journey forward. Your story is yours. No one else can tell it for you. And in that ownership lies an incredible amount of strength. So don't let anyone take your story from you. Don't let others define who you are or how you are seen. Stand tall in the truth of your journey and use your story as a source of empowerment, connection, and growth. It's your story, and it holds the power to change everything. In closing, remember that your story is yours alone. It is the foundation of your identity, the source of your strength, and the key to your personal power. When you own your narrative, embracing both the highs and the lows, you unlock the ability to shape your life with intention and purpose. Don't let anyone else define you, and don't be afraid to share your story, because in doing so, you not only empower yourself, but you also create space for others to embrace their own truth. Your story is a living, evolving testament to your resilience, your growth, and your infinite potential. So stand tall, embrace your journey, and remember your story is your power. Own it and let it guide you to the life you were always meant to live. Thank you.